On a lakeshore that had once been home to the Ojibwe and the Dakota before them, the school that would become Bemidji State University was sparked by civic ambition. Bemidji outmaneuvered Thief River Falls and Cass Lake to claim Minnesota's 6th normal school for teacher education. Under the strict eye of President Manfred Deputy, Bemidji Normal first welcomed students in 1919. World War I had ended, and America's women would soon win the right to vote. The school was renamed Bemidji State Teachers College in 1921. Its mostly female students were buckling down on Birchmont Drive and also having fun. Inspired by the snowy pines, one student broke a deadlock over the school colors. "How about green and white?" she asked. The Depression shrunk instructors' pay during the 30s, and enrollment slid below 200. But campus activities flourished, and a laboratory school continued for Bemidji's children. In 1938, with Charles Satgast as president, work began on a gymnasium, its name, Memorial Hall. Enrollment topped 500 as the 40s began, then dwindled when Minnesotans answered the call of World War II. In 44, with only 18 male students remaining, Bemidji State football had its sole undefeated season. Dr. Satgast also went to war, becoming one of the monument men who secured cultural treasures in Europe. 20 former students were killed in action. In 1946, as veterans flocked back, the hockey program began, and there was competitive curling. BSTC offered its first BA degree that year, and in 47, Hobson Forest was established. In 48, the college staged the play I Remember Mama, a comedy about Norwegian immigrants. And that same year, students supported the Berlin airlift. A Cold War era had begun. The next 30 years were marked by social change and technological innovation. The calm of the 50s and the early 60s was broken by the Vietnam War and an awakening to the rights of women and minorities, especially American Indians. Environmental consciousness also emerged. Surging enrollment spurred a building boom that lasted into the 70s. It included a new home for the lab school and 7 new dorms, which were all named for trees, and among the nation's first to go co-ed. Along the way, the school broadened its identity, becoming Bemidji State College in 1957. Tragedy struck in March 1967 when Bemidji State College's young and charismatic new president, Harry Bangsberg, died with 6 others in a plane crash while on a U.S.-sponsored study trip to South Vietnam. By 1969, students and faculty had joined in protests against the war, demonstrating on campus and in the community. Other societal forces rapidly made their mark on Bemidji State. From 1969 to 1972, the college began varsity women's athletics, well ahead of Title IX, launched the nation's first college program in Ojibwe and another in Indian Studies, and created one of the first environmental studies majors while also embracing the advent of Earth Day. In 1972, freshmen were no longer required to wear beanies to start their first semester, and in 1975, the college became a university. Revolving leadership followed the 1979 retirement of President Robert Decker, an affable Texan who for 11 years had orchestrated a great expansion of campus and curriculum. In 1980, BSU got its first woman president. Harvard-educated sociologist Rebecca Stafford served for 2 turbulent years that included a full review of academic programs. Next was Ted Gillette. His 8-year tenure included conversion of the Ed Arts Building, now Benson Hall, as well as construction of both the landmark Alumni Arch and the Wellness Center that bears his name. The 90s saw 3 more presidents, beginning with the popular Les Dooley, whose leadership was cut short by a fatal heart attack in 1993. That year, enrollment peaked at nearly 5,400, and the university established the Indian Student Service, beginning outreach that continues to this day. Interim President, former Vice President Linda Baer, oversaw opening of the historic David Park House as a stylish home for the BSU Foundation and Alumni Association. In 1994, the irrepressible James Benson became the first Bemidji State graduate to lead the university. Over 7 years, he cultivated regional support and international partnerships while guiding Beaver hockey toward Division I. The school's 9th president, starting in 2001, was former BSU Dean and Associate Vice President John Quiscard. He cut the ribbon on the American Indian Resource Center in 2003 and oversaw approval and funding of Bemidji's new Sanford Center. City voters narrowly backed a 2006 referendum that still rankles some locals. The Beavers reached the Frozen Four in 2009, and the new arena opened in 2010. Dr. Q's global view included concern for the environment, which in 2004 became one of the university's signature themes. He signed the President's Climate Commitment in 2008, the year students okayed a green fee that continues to fund environmental education and action. Richard Hansen, a gentle giant who'd briefly played with the NFL's New York Giants, became president in 2010. He addressed a $5 million deficit with recalibration of academic programs that caused campus and community angst over its impact on the arts. Dr. Hansen was also out front on BSU's first major fundraising campaign called Imagine Tomorrow, which raised $36 million for scholarships and academic support in 5 years. Transformation of Memorial Hall into a new home for business and accounting was completed on his watch, and he initiated replacement of Hag-Sauer Hall with a state-of-the-art learning center, a project that now tops Minnesota State's priority list for bond funding. Current President Faith Hensrud has been at the helm since July 2016. She led development of a new strategic plan that will shape the university's future through intertwined goals of community engagement, student enrichment, and increased diversity. Like faculty and staff colleagues, Dr. Hensrud is determined to see BSU grow and flourish as it prepares students for inspired lives in an increasingly global society. Hers will be the Centennial presidency. Bemidji State's journey originated with Minnesota's shortage of teachers to educate a burgeoning population. The normal school that grew into a university in the Pines has been ever faithful to its founding purpose. But in the span of a century, BSU has evolved into much, much more. And despite all that has changed and will continue to change from within and from without, a great deal remains essentially the same. Proudly, determinedly, sweetly the same. Such is Bemidji State University. As fond memories and cherished traditions endure, many of BSU's people seem to defy the passage of time as well.
The whole idea is a good reminder to the existing students that, hey, you got a place here that's pretty darn good. And our background, we start from nothing and we build and keep going, and we have had, for the most part, super administrators who are never loved, not appreciated, but without them, things would be very, very dark. Got a good school, good school.